I am not one to go waving flags around and bragging about some form of nationality because I feel that is another trick that we fall for. Because many of these folks from back then, the Judases, when we started forming into our own government, they were the ones who slid into the seat first. Not the rebellious ones, not the ones who really wanted to have their own community, not the ones who really deserve some form of dignity. And so that is why you can see that the government back then and the government now is the same. You may have more people that looks like us, or you may have more people that share our roots or share the same roots as us. However, their mind, their brain has been conformed. And throughout the generations, people who have the same roots as us have always been used against us. And so that is why I always say to the people, be mindful of this government thing. We always had almost like a government outside of the government because we have to keep the governments in line. It is not the people or the domestic people who made the changes that we have today. It's the ones who pushed back against it, who really did it. And we have to always remember that. We have to realize that those same government that you have set in place, you need to ensure that you have a unity outside of that. When the bigger heads are ready, that's the same government they're going to use to do what they need to do to you. Throughout the generations, and I've mentioned it in one of my previous videos, many of these governments that we have in place was used to oppress the local people. So it puzzles me that now many of these same governments are saying that they require or desire reparation because of what was done to the people. We have to understand this. We did not all out get rid of the planters, right? Because we had a lot of Judas within us who did not want to do that. They wanted to stay close to Master. Many of them had relationships with Master, different kinds of relationships, both man and woman. All it was is that the people who were closest to the planters, and in many cases, their mulattoes and Creole children, basically slid into the seat because they were representations, or they represented, because many of the planters did not deal directly with the actual African people. The mulattoes was the mediator. So when the government was created, the one who was in compliance, the one who they see was deemed to be domestic because they are broken, they're in compliance, they were given position of leadership. They have some type of government or to become governors over the people. And they at the same time would punish the people. They would use the iron rod on the people to get them in place. So now when I see people dancing around, waving their flag and acting like not realizing that, look, you do not own the government, you know that, right? Yes, we have to ensure that we are involved with it. And it's be good if we can educate youths that we send in the government that are for us. But right now, for the most part, I would say over 90%, I would even go higher, 98%, seem to neglect that we have to rebuild something that was taken from us, that was ripped from us, that was never regained. Other people was not raped of their identity. So that is why when they get involved in a government with us, they can easily take over pretty quick because they do not have to go through that identity crisis that we have. As a result of that identity crisis, we are all over the place.